everyone, it's Rita. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be taking a look at Hourglass new release. So this is going to be the Ambient Lighting Edit, the Sculpture Palette. So beautiful packaging, reminding me so much of 2 years ago from the Unlocked palette. This is such a stunning holiday release. So this is of course what I have on my cheeks today. So if you want to see a bit more of the powders and how they perform on my face, then please keep on watching. To begin with, let's just kind of like take a quick look at the actual palette. So it has that beautiful component that is kind of like gold reflective, which yes, it's going to get kind of like fingerprints all over and dirty pretty easily, but I mean, it doesn't matter because it's a beautiful palette. And then you open it up and you get that huge mirror. And then you have 6 shades, of course, beginning with 2 finishing powders up here. Then you get the strobe powder, which is of course the highlighter. You get 1 bronzer and then 2 blushes. So let's go ahead and try it on the face, and if you hear anything going on the back, that's one of my doggies going crazy, because of course he is. I don't have anything on my face right now. Of course my foundation and my base, everything is done, but I don't have any of this blush or bronzer or highlight, nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and apply everything together. So I'm going to start with, of course, the finishing powders. I always like to finish up my under eye with a finishing powder, and I love the one from the Unlocked palette, which is the other palette that I have from them. So for my face powder, I always use the Hourglass Veil powder, which is my absolutely holy grail. I use it every single day, and that's the only thing, of course, besides my foundation and concealer that I have on. So let's start with number 2, the powder number 2, which is going to be the Diffused Light. So it comes with Dim Light, which is a more pinkier, and then Diffused Light, which is the more kind of like yellowy undertone. So I can definitely mix those two. I thought maybe that I was not able to use as much the pink because I am more of a neutral kind of person instead of like pink undertones, but I'm thinking I can just kind of like mix them together and it'll be fine. So for the under eye, I'm just going to go ahead and use Dim Light. And again, I don't have any under eye powder except for the actual full face powder. The beauty about Hourglass powders is that yes, you can definitely use this all over your face, and you can't really, like whenever you swatch them, you can't really tell, but once applied on your face, they give you that most beautiful kind of like glow from within that on your under eye or kind of like as a finishing powder, it's barely noticeable, but it does make a huge difference, especially whenever you apply it on your under eye. So anyway, I'm just going to apply a bit more, and then I'm gonna use, which one is it? Dim Light, which is going to be the pinker one. I'm gonna grab this one with this same brush, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of this around my nose and right here on my mouth, and then just a tiny bit on my forehead and my T-zone, just to kind of like bring out a bit more of illumination or a little bit of a more glowy finishing powder. I feel like I am so repetitive about this, but the way I apply my makeup, I just wanted to give you a heads up. It's going to be my bronzer, then I go for my highlight, and then my blush, because I always like to have my highlight kind of like pop in, kind of like peek through from within instead of just kind of like being stamped on the face on top of the cheeks. So anyway, let's go of course with the bronzer, which is going to be this one on the corner, and the shade, it's actually called Natural Bronze Light. So I'm going to be using my very trusty and very old e.l.f. stipple brush, and I'm just going to use this to kind of like start, not really carving, but just kind of like bringing a bit more definition to my cheeks, and also down here on my my chin. And lastly, I like to apply this also on my forehead, and I bring it down just a bit down here on my temples. So here is the side with the bronzer, and of course here is nothing on my face. So you can definitely see how this color just provided a bit more definition, a lot of like bronziness to the face, and just overall more beautiful, and everything kind of like very very natural, but still making the face look with that kind of like beautiful glow. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Again, same brush. So for highlight, we're gonna be using the strobe powder, which is called the Glistening Strobe Light. So the one on the very corner. And I'm gonna be using a, again, very old blush brush by e.l.f. and just apply wherever I would usually highlight. which is on the top of my eyebrows and of course the top of my cheeks. Very natural and very beautiful. I really love it. So I do have two blushes to pick from. Number 5, which is the middle one, is actually a Strobe blush called Vibrant Flush, and then the other one is kind of like a more plum one. It's called Mood Exposure. So this two, I think I'm gonna go for the Strobe one, the middle one, just because I'm wearing like a yellow dress and I feel like it's going to pair a little bit best with what I'm wearing than the other one. But of course we know that quality wise both of them are gonna be beautiful. So I'm just gonna smile. So here is the final look, and honestly I absolutely love these colors together. Again, Hourglass just makes this so stunning powders that no matter how little effort you do in your makeup, I feel like even if you had like a bad base, like your foundation is not looking the best, or you know, it's just something odd about your base face makeup, whenever you apply these powders, just everything gets pulled together in the most beautiful, natural, glowy way. It is very difficult to describe until you actually wear them on your face. It is a powder that swatches don't do it justice. Even the beautiful palette itself doesn't do it justice. Yes, it's absolutely breathtaking, but it does not compare to you actually putting it all over your cheeks and in your face. That's whenever the true beauty of these powders comes out. So it is of course very pricey. This retails for $80 and it's now available on both the Sephora website and an Hourglass website, probably on Beautylish as well. I haven't really checked, but it is going to be, to me, this is something more of like an investment. I cannot stress you enough how little I ever use other kind of like palettes that have more than one product in one. So any kind of even duos like a bronzer and a blush, I don't use them as much. But this palette, of course the original that I have, which is the Unlocked, I always use it. I am so surprised I haven't hit pan on it, because literally since I bought it 2 years ago, it is like my one thing that whenever I'm in a rush, whenever I don't know what to wear and I want my makeup to look flawless, I literally would just grab this palette and I had like a great makeup day. So of course, naturally, whenever this came announced, I knew I had to pick it up. I didn't get last year's, really because I was just not liking the ghost palette they did. It was, to me, I just didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie. Of course the powders inside, they were beautiful, like again all of Hourglass powders, but just the packaging just didn't get to me. And I am pretty much a packaging person. If I like the packaging, I'm gonna pick it up. But this, again, the packaging could be trash, but the powders inside are so beautiful that it is totally worth your $80. It is a very high price tag, but it is totally worth it. Again, if you've never tried Hourglass, this is the best time to try them, because you're gonna be getting a little bit of all of they have to offer. The finishing powder, the bronzer, the strobe highlights, and the blush, and you're gonna realize how beautiful they are, and I'm telling you, you're gonna fall in love. It would be so awesome if they brought like this one for like light medium skin tones, and then another palette for like medium darker skin tones. That would be so awesome. Even if they just brought out two, I'm pretty sure people would be so much happier. But I don't think I've ever heard someone complaining about they don't like the actual product. So yeah, the inclusion is not there. It should have like way more selection for way more skin tones, but the powders itself are beautiful. So with that being said, if you are in the market to try Hourglass, and if you've been trying to try them but just the price tag kind of like scares you away, because I mean, that's almost $100. That's a lot of money for one product. But I promise you, it is so worth your money. And once you try it, I'm telling you, you're gonna fall in love, and you're gonna want to have everything from Hourglass powders, because they are so good. Of course, Hourglass is a cruelty-free brand as a whole. This palette specifically is also going to be vegan and gluten-free, just in case that is something that you look for in your makeup, the gluten part of it. And it's going to be free of sulfates and parabens and mineral oil and triclosan. It's very hard words to pronounce, but this one is going to contain just kind of like as a gram per product. It's 6 of them, and it's going to be 0.004 ounces, so a total of 1.4 grams for the full 6 products. And it comes in the shades the Vibrant Flush, which is the more kind of like vibrant coral pink, Natural Bronze Light, which is the neutral bronze, a Glistening Strobe Light, which is a Pearlescent Champagne, the highlighter, and then Dim Light, which is a neutral beige finishing powder, then Diffused Light, which is the warm pale yellow, and then finally Mood Exposure, which I feel like it's one of the most popular blushes in their collection, the more plummy kind shade. So yes, that's kind of like the more specifications of here is the old packaging 2 years ago, the unlocked. This sold out pretty quickly and they actually re-released it. I was able to pick it up whenever they re-released it because the first time around I couldn't get it because everyone was getting it and everyone's loving it. So you can see, I'm gonna show you real quick, kind of like side by side, these shades. So you can kind of like see for yourself. This one is the new one and this one is the unlocked. So colors are pretty different from each other and they are actually completely different shades. I believe from last year's, from the Ghost palette, there are some similar, or I think they're the same, couple of repeats from this one. So whenever I saw this announced, I immediately picked up my unlocked and figured that they're not the same. So I have completely different palettes, so that makes me super happy. They of course are both beautiful and I know that I'm gonna get so much use out of my new one compared to what I've been using my unlocked, because I'm telling you, I've used this to death. Like every single time that I was just, you know, on a rush or on my everyday makeup to go to the office, this was my go-to because it's so compact. I mean, it's a compact palette regarding of it being big, but it's kind of like thin and it's easy to carry around, and whenever you're doing your makeup on the go, which I was doing a lot of that while I was in the office, this was the perfect thing because you just put it in your purse and you have literally everything that you could possibly need. Maybe even you don't even need like an actual powder face because you have those finishing powders. Like if you have more normal to dry skin, I would be okay with kind of like just setting my full face with these two powders. So here on the swatches, you can see how both palettes are actually pretty different from each other. Of course, you can't really see as much on the finishing powders because after all, they're not going to look different whenever you swatch them. But once on the face, they are going to give you that kind of like difference in the illumination or the glowiness that they provide to the skin. But yes, they are similar but not the same, and I absolutely love having both of this in my collection now. If you are on the market for anything from the new holiday releases and you have kind of like saved a little bit of money, or you have some money destined to go to any of the holiday releases, I highly suggest you pick this up because you get everything in one. If you've never tried Hourglass, this is the time to do it. And all of the colors are so stunning, and they do not, I cannot stress this enough, they do not look as beautiful. Like yes, they're beautiful on the palette, but they transform your face and your makeup into such a beautiful finishing look that you are going to be so in love with it. So yes, I absolutely love it. I am so happy I picked it up, and I suggest if you are thinking in picking it up to kind of like do it sooner than later, because this always run out of stock pretty fast because of course people absolutely love the holiday. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments down below if you're planning on picking it up or if you're passing it, because I am pretty intrigued. You know, Hourglass has been doing these palettes for such a long time at this point, so if you have a lot of them already, maybe you don't want to pick it up. But if it's gonna be your first time purchase, just let me know in the comments down below. I always love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!